Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here, my new jacket, doing a deep for you. Oh, I'm gonna wrap up the last lesson and take you to a new one. So let's get started. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. Message and story for life. I'm giving life lessons. You tune in, you must be working for you. I appreciate the views. Let's do what we do. Right thinkers mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is to get all right thinkers, and there's coming a lot of y'all to do just that. Know thyself. The more the merrier. I appreciate it. Let's go. I asked the question, do you know you? If you don't have the answer, it's rhetorical, but if you know how to answer for yourself, I can help you with that. When I get done, you will. That's my mission. Let's do it. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not. It's simple. You teach them. That's what I do to do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows, but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. With knowledge of self. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with just that knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself. And to my eye, be true. I was telling you about we did the yoga of virtue. I broke it down for you. Now I'm gonna answer the question, what is true virtue? It's gonna be a short paragraph, but hopefully this is getting what I gave you earlier, tie into that and give you a better understanding. Then I'm gonna take into judgment. Because virtue you need to have before you pass the judgment. What is true virtue? Good question. Try to answer it for you right quick. Now, in order to understand what true virtue is, all of the elements that drive a human being and cause him or her to be the way they are, she is, we must begin by understanding the teachings of what? Remember my girl? Karma, aka and reincarnation. The elements that you need to be virtuous, righteous, integrity, self-respect, all the good things, good qualities that you had to exhibit. You can acquire those things. Why? Because they're gonna play a role in what? Your judgment, which I'm gonna take you into after I get finished this lesson. So it ties right in. Good. Watch this. So the human being is not simply a mind and body, which will someday just cease to exist. No. In fact, every human being's mind and body are what? In reality, you listen, emanations or just expressions of their internal soul. The mind and the body are referred to as what? The ego personality. And understand the ego. The ancients told you about that. That's who you identify with. That's the I in you. That's I, me. That's my ego. It has to be what? Enlightened. It has to be controlled. Why? If not, it's going to cause problems. Why? You're lower nature. You know better than the animal of the fields. That's why with knowledge and understanding and intellect, you raise your consciousness, your personality will change. You become a better person. But the ego personality is what the base understanding for humans are. That's why we teach. That's why we got taught. And watch this. The body referred to as the ego personality because that's what we identify with. We think God is somewhere else. We don't know who we are. My goal is to get you to know who you are. Why? Because I do. So understand. And watch this. The ego personality, and it is this ego personality, watch, which is temporal. This body is temporary and mortal. This body won't last long. What's in the body is what's important. But the body have a conscious that it had to connect with the heart conscious, and that's how you know who you are. Why? That connection makes it possible. Open up your third eye, open up the chakra. I'm gonna give you a lesson in chakras too. That's another lesson I got for you. But the spirit is immortal, the physical body is, and most of us identify with the body, which is okay, but that's not all. So the soul is what? Immortal, which is inside the physical body, and is what? Is perfect. While the ego personality, which is us, is subject to what? Error, confusion, and guess what? The consequences of these, we call them fetters. If a human being, no, if a human being is aware of what? The deeper soul reality, Maya concepts, philosophy, this state of being is known as what? As the state of enlightenment. Right thinkers, we want to be enlightened. That's knowing who you are. However, if a human being does not have self knowledge, and experience of their higher self, because they're ignorant, again, because they're stuck on the ego self, they're stuck in me, I mode. I keep trying to make that point clear. Then what happens? They exist in a condition of spiritual ignorance. Ain't nothing. You're dead. If you're spiritually ignorant, you consider dead. Why? Because you ain't never gonna find yourself. You're gonna keep repeating the same life over and over again. Why? Let me prove it to you. When your condition of ignorance, which will what? Would lead to, you listening? Sinful behavior, pain, and what? Sorrow in this physical life. Mhm. The ego personality, watch this, is subject, here you go, to the forces of time and space and will suffer the consequences of its unrighteous, disrespectful actions. This is us doing us. This is us thinking we getting over, thinking we want this, we want that. You want the girls, you talk slick and get the girl. You want money, you talk, do, make this. All that's material stuff. That's ego. All that's fine, but it don't get you nowhere. That's my point. Okay, it's like on the treadmill. You can run for hours. Ain't went no damn where. Stay in the dream world. You can dream about and go all over the world. Ain't went nowhere. So understand it's all mental and where we at. So at this, watch this. And this is the basis. I tell you about fetters. What you do, you're responsible for. Whether you know it or not, you are responsible for your actions. I read that lesson for that too. But watch this. And this is the basis for what? The teachings of right thinking philosophy, which we represent karma, aka Maya philosophy. When the ego personality dies, watch this, the soul moves on, hence the bird, the wings, why it leaves the body. Now, if the human being has what? Discovered his or her higher self by what? Purifying their heart. How? Mind and body, living right, doing right. And then what happens? The soul moves forward to what? Unite with who? The supreme self, God. We call him Asar. If the ego, watch this, if the ego in a person is fettered by the ignorance, then what happens? Then the soul moves into the astral plane, which is the waiting room, until what? It finds another ego personality. Why? About to be what? Born again into this physical world, aka in time and space, so that, watch this, that it may have another opportunity to have experiences that would what? Lead to discovery of its higher nature. If you didn't do it in the prior life, you get a chance to do it again in the next. Watch this. This is the basis for what? The teachings of reincarnation. That's the end of the lesson of virtue. Why? Without virtue, if you don't add virtue to your personality, you won't make it to the next life and you'll be reincarnated back again. So understand, you want to be virtuous. Now, let's get right into, okay, yeah, I'm good. This concept of judgment. We all talk about judgment, and the Christian judgment is going to the gates of heaven and having St. Peter pull your name out and say, oh, I know Jesus. And that's the password to get into heaven. Quick joke. God sitting back chilling. St. Peter at the door. He said, God, you got a son named Jesus Christ? I don't know Jesus Christ. So everybody come to the gate, claiming that password, won't get in. Why? That ain't enough. And it's the wrong password. As a Mason, we did that. We had a whole war. We fought with them because they couldn't pronounce a certain word a certain way. And we knew when they did that, we knew who it was. So It's all in understanding. But judgment means you're going to be held accountable for your actions. How about that? So let me get right to it. Judgment, aka, let's talk about this. The conscious, CONSCIENCE, is conscious of the heart, not the conscious of the mind. So when you got a heart conscious of the human, is what? His or her own God. I'm opening up with that one. Okay. This is where he is. So this got to make the connection. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. That's my whole goal, to get you to compare, put them two together so you can become one with yourself, which is in the heart. And once you come convinced of that, you wake up and realize who you are, hence know thyself. That's the ticket. Now let's talk about it right quick. And that's a phrase from the Book of the Dead coming forth by day. Religion, I gave you a lesson about that, has three levels also: mythology, ritual, and the metaphysics of the mystical philosophy. We all know the stories. Osiris, the myth of Osiris. Watch this. Aset in Haru. What does it do? This represents the mythological level of our ancient Egyptian religion. They lived this. They believed this. They enacted it. Watch this. In the rituals presented in the ancient Egyptian book of coming forth by day represent the ritual level. Like everybody go to church every week. That's just the ritual level. That don't get it done. That ain't the end all be all. Sorry. But the philosophy of the judgment represents what? Mythical philosophy, which is at the heart of ancient religion and is what? The goal of all spiritual practices. Be it Christianity, Judaism, all of them got the same goal. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I understand religion. Trust me. When it's done right and practiced correctly, it's a beautiful thing. Why? Because it's going to get you where you're supposed to go, to God, spiritually. Okay? But they got dogma and they got commandments and understand it. I get that. Mythological stories, same thing. So I understand it. Please understand it. I'm just giving you our ancient ancestors' perspective about it. I'm not knocking it. I'm not doing nothing except enlightening you to what we did as a people. That's all. And the first two levels is what most people stuck on, like steps on a ladder, and not the end of the road. Again, just because you go to church, just because you claim to be something, that don't mean you know God. That don't mean you are spiritually enlightened. So again, those who get lost, and that's what you are in the first two levels, stuck on stupid, we know it as, will what? Will not discover. Those who are lost, stuck on the first two levels, will not discover the ultimate transcendental truth behind the religion. That's the purpose of religion for your third phase as a Mason. We had three degrees. I know a bunch of guys who got the first two and heard about what's going to happen in the third degree and didn't get the third. If you're scared, I don't want you. If you got fear, I don't need you in my camp. So that's another thing. So if you're going to do something, do it or don't do it. Doing a little bit don't mean nothing. It's a waste of time. So sorry. So see it through, okay? But watch this. They will never discover the ultimate transcendental truth behind the religion. They'll never make it to the third level. They'll never become Christianized, anointed, Christ-like. Why? Because they ain't practicing what they learning. That's why. They're not living it. Religion is meant to be lived, practiced daily. That's why right there in the philosophy, those who practice see it works if you implement it in what? Your daily life. It tells you that in the teachings. Sorry. But let me wrap this up. But watch this. They will remain at what? The level of dogma and empty rituals. I ain't going there. I ain't even gonna put it out there like that. I know people who've been practicing on the church, the ritual, for over 40 years. And he's advanced a bit. But these where they hold it down. And in their mind they are, but they lost. So they're never gonna make the third level. They're still stuck on dogma. Moving on. Last part. No, I got two paragraphs here. It says read. So I'm gonna close out. Now, in order to gain a firm a grounding for what? The understanding of my right thinking philosophy, aka Maya, and the philosophy of what? Judgment. We had a perfect idea. Watch this. We must first look at the ancient Egyptian myth of Ra and Asar, Ra is the supreme being. We know that. He created the universe by emerging from the primeval waters. We know the story. When he did so, he established order in the universe. When? By how? The first thing he did, he recognized chaos. He said, no, this ain't going to work. Mayat. So he placed Mayat in the place of chaos. That's the start. So understand this. And that takes care of confusion. Where there's order, no confusion. When there's chaos, there's no order, you got confusion. So the first thing he did when he came out of the noon was put order in place. So understand that. Now, he incarnated, listen, he incarnated himself in his creation. When he created everything from the Christian concept, he created everything, everything's perfect. But don't nobody know him. The plants don't know him. The animals don't know him. Whoa, wait a minute. I need somebody. God made man so man can make God. I keep telling you that concept. Why? We know that we didn't do it, so we give it to a higher self. You see me pointing out. Why? Because we didn't put that up there. I know man don't create that, so I give it to that. That's a concept that you can use and manifest for yourself any way you want, be it good or bad. But watch this. Now, judgment day, that means what? Where we at? Ra is the supreme being. He created the universe, made himself stop. Now, he incarnated himself into his creation by taking on what? Human form, where God's having a human experience. God wanted to experience his profound creation. Hope you're understanding this. Of Asar, that's the first. So therefore, watch this. The soul, which is what man has in him, of Asar, is in what? Reality, Ra himself. Just like y'all think Jesus, God is in Jesus, we telling you, Ra is in every human being that comes through the Bible. He just got to realize it for him or herself as a metaphor of human soul. Every human being is in what? A incarnation where spiritual beings have the human experience of the divine self, God, and what happens? We suffer the trials and tribulations while in human form. It don't get no simpler than that. And I try to put it to you just that way. Let me wrap it up. I don't want to take too much of your time with this one. This is quick, fast, and hope you enjoyed it. I am, why? Because I'm getting the point across. I hope you get the concept. Watch this. Now let's finish this off. What is the concept of the Assyrian resurrection myth? What's the purpose or reason? It's our life in a nutshell. Watch this. The process of creation is explained in the form of a cosmological system for what? For better understanding. Everybody has a creation story. Everybody has a theological concept. Everybody has a version and a name for God. Please understand that. Don't get caught up in the nonsense. Okay. Cosmology is what? Just a branch of philosophy dealing with the origin of things. Again, creation. The process, origin and process, and the structure of what? The universe. Cosmogony is the astrophysics study of the creation and evolution of the universe. Both of these disciplines are inherited facets of our Egyptian philosophy through the main what? Religious systems. What? This is practiced daily. So they call it the religious systems or the companies of what? They call them the god and goddesses, which the Star Wars called it the Force. We know that too. Right thinkers use the Force. That means think. It ain't illegal yet. And wrapping it up. A company of gods is what? And goddesses is a group of deities that stems from the main. Remember, everything comes from the one. He incarnated himself over and over, and he ain't missed nothing. And no matter how many he get, he don't add nothing. Get the concept? So watch this. He symbolizes a group of God and goddesses is a group of deities which symbolize a particular cosmic force, or we know them as principles, which emanates from the all encompassing, I just try to explain that to you, supreme being, God. It ain't but one. Everything outside that comes from him. That means we all connected under him. One nation under groove, as George tell you, my man. But watch this. from which, what's this? We all from the encompassing being, from which what? They have emerged. Every God and goddess, every force, every human being is an emanation from God. How about that? Plants, animals, nature, it all from God, same thing. The self or supreme being manifests through creation, through what? The properties and principles represented by what? The paute, which we call the company of God and goddesses, which we know as labeled as cosmic laws of nature, aka the force. The company of gods and goddesses of Anu, which is the first place, the first time, is regarded as what? The oldest, and forms the oldest and forms the basis of the Assyrian Trinity. It started there. I'm gonna end the lesson there because I got another one for you, but I hope you enjoyed that one. I'll be back.